Annette Lopez.
Thank you, gentlemen. I guess since we're announcing who we are, I too am a friend of Danny's. And I, in all probability, was her biggest skeptic. As a native New Yorker, when I first heard service rat, I was very, very curious. However, in coming to see her service rats work, and having 4 trained, professionally trained, as that is my career, service dogs, none of my service dogs went within 2.5 to 3 feet of her rats, albeit one of them is actually a rodent detector by its breed, ever knew that her rats were in their presence. Danny's rats are clean and they are disease-free, as are all domesticated rats. It is there is a lot of information that has been given tonight, albeit misinformation. And if anyone is so naive as to think that they have exposure to germs only by service animals, might I suggest that the City Council pass an ordinance to for the hotels to get rid of bed bugs, and to the restaurants to get rid of pests, as in cockroaches. I grew up in the restaurant business in my family, and get rid of rats that are naturally in restaurants. And at least we forget we're in the high desert, and oh, golly gee, we have field mice coming in. And if anyone is so naive as to think that guide dogs, once given to a client and matched with an owner, that the blind person does its due diligence in keeping up the protocol of vaccines, you are very naive. Might I add that there is no such thing as any kind of vaccination record that is required. I am on my 3rd training, now my 4th personal service dog, and there is no vaccination record requested or required, nor can anyone do that legally prior to today's amendment finalization, nor after tomorrow, and certainly not by any means, Mr. Jensen, a fecal report. My goodness, I would welcome anyone to please contact me. I am readily available all over the internet and everywhere, and I would love to educate you. I can also share information from the CDC and a whole list of organizations. But everything, gentlemen, that you have been given tonight is a purely misinformation and, quite honestly, blasphemy. Thank you, gentlemen.
Elise Lopez.
Hello, I'm Alicia Lopez. I personally do not need a service animal. I'm not disabled, as you can see. I'm quite the advocate for service animals. I, in fact, have my daughter in the back. She's almost 2. She lives with service dogs. Lynette is my mother. Never been attacked. Love her to pieces. She could use a dog as a step stool. Not going to get bitten. She has, in fact, come in contact with the service rat herself.
Well, please turn your phone off. Is that where it is?
Very loving, great experience. She was tickled pink. My daughter didn't get sick. Obviously, as you can see, she's not dead. There's no lethal illnesses to be come in contact with. As far as businesses and restaurants, for that matter, I would be more worried about people's wild children stealing from my store, or teenagers stealing from my store, versus a service animal. If you're going to raise your children to just run up to strange animals, frankly, they deserve to be bit. I was taught, if you see an animal on the street, if you see an animal on a leash with their owner, you ask permission to pet that animal. You just don't go right on ahead and do it. I also think that as far as restaurants, they're not coming in personal contact with anyone else's food. I'd be more worried about seafood, peanut allergies, things of that matter. versus a service animal. More often than not, they can be kenneled, they're trained. They're not just wild animals running around. I think what you're being told by these tea partiers is absolutely ridiculous information. Half of them can't even speak for themselves, which is pretty funny, considering I'm 23, I can speak from the heart, I can speak for myself, and these people are reading from a script. That's all that I have to say. Thank you.
Last card is Danny Moore.
Thank you, gentlemen. I know you know where I stand on this. You've heard a lot of misinformation tonight. I can only hope that that's out of ignorance and not out of design. Any service animal that touches any surface in any business, dog or otherwise, that is touched by other patrons or is touched by food should be asked to leave that business. That is not acceptable service animal behavior, and it is not common service animal behavior. I would like to make an offer to any of the businesses in Hesperia. If you'd like to give me your name and your address, I will guarantee you that myself nor any of my friends will ever frequent your establishment. I think we have to remember it wasn't so many years ago when seeing eye dogs were first introduced. And people said, oh my God, they're going to attack people. They're going to poop all over the buildings. They're going to carry diseases. And none of that happened. And none of that's going to happen now. I hope that, especially since we've already had an assurance by Mr. Blewett, that if there ever is a problem, this ordinance can be gone in one city council meeting. I would hope that our city will stand up and do the right thing because it's the right thing, not because of the bigoted and prejudiced attitudes you've heard here today.
That's all the cards I have. Anybody else wishing to speak? Good. And please fill out a card when you're done. Give it to city clerk.
Sorry, last minute. Won't take long. I'm able to speak for myself, but I happen to also, my name is Don Nelson, I live in this area. But I have a letter here from another restaurant too. Hesperia City Council, to whom it may concern, as the owner of the Italian Kitchen Restaurant in Hesperia, I am highly opposed to any city ordinance that would allow access to my business anything beyond a seeing eye dog. I wouldn't even be allowed to ask for a certification or know that the animal had been vaccinated, thus jeopardizing my liability insurance coverage. There was a time when a panhandler came into my business with a dog, and he professed that his ungroomed dog was a seeing eye dog. This is the exception to this. The man was asking my clients for money and cigarettes. Is this what your ordinance would allow? I don't think that this proposed ordinance was prepared properly, and I can't even imagine the health department giving it their blessing. How can the city propose something like this? Again, I am highly opposed to the acceptance and approval of this city ordinance. Michael J. Tuozo, the Italian Kitchen Restaurant.
Don Barton.